Make some fucking good movies, DC. I'm giving up after Justice League if you don't improve Wonder Woman.
I said that on January 6th of 2017, at the very end of my Suicide Squad movie rant. Suicide Squad is still one of the worst movies I have ever watched. But I had some optimism for their upcoming film, Wonder Woman. Now, I gave the DCEU a second chance. I said in the video I kind of like Batman vs. Superman. It came at a rough time during my life, so it was a perfectly fine movie to sit back and relax with. However, was it a good movie? No, not really. Objectively, probably not. It wasn't that really entertaining, but somehow, I don't know, I could escape in it. If I watched it again, I probably would have a lot more to say. However, this isn't about the movie Batman vs. Superman. It's not even about Suicide Squad. I'm here to talk about Wonder Woman. And let me just say this. DCEU, how fucking dare you make a good movie? Yeah, Wonder Woman's good. Surprising, I know. Wonder Woman came out and everyone was ranting and raving about it and saying it was a really good movie. In fact, one of the best movies since Dark Knight, which, that's a good compliment. Here's the problem. I think Wonder Woman is good, yes. I don't think it's fantastic. Let me explain. I think what the whole idea of it is I don't want to immediately jump on the card that's like, we are preconditioned to such shittiness with the DCEU that out of nowhere, seeing, I don't know, a flower come out was like something like we should give high praise for. Let me just say this. What I enjoyed about this movie was obvious what I would enjoy about this movie. Wonder Woman is fantastic. Gal Gadot is a phenomenal actress in this movie, and I think she truly brings Wonder Woman to life, and I feel like she's a perfect match for her. And she's such a likable and lovable character. It's beautifully naive too. There's some wholesome and pure moments with Wonder Woman. Oh my god, I did at one moment in the theater say aw. But at the same time, Wonder Woman kicked a lot of ass and was super cool to watch her just beat the shit out of a bunch of army dudes. Speaking of army dudes, the supporting character, played by Chris Pines, Steve Trevor? Either way, sorry, is actually really well done as well. I think he was a really great character, a really fun character, and it's really hard for me to find like two main characters to ever truly mix, mingle, all this shit with together, because these two were perfect together. They were a perfect chemistry, in my opinion, of like wonderfully naive and just this pessimistic, I guess, is the word I'm looking for. But those two together was wonderful, and I think was like one of the best characters we've gotten from the DCEU so far, concerning just in general, what's the word I'm looking for? Character, I guess, because you actually really like these characters and you really hope they succeed in their mission. The color, believe it or not, there's color in this movie. Not a lot of it, but there is at least color. There's a color in beginning on Wonder Woman's island. There's color in the war zones. Everything. It's wonderful. And when there's no color, it's just drab, boring towns. And that's what's kind of sad. Is there's so much color, but But the thing about the drab-looking colors is there's at least something quote-unquote interesting about each one of them that's set in this drab-looking colorless land, which kind of, balances it out, I would believe. So, yeah. There's a few supporting characters in the movie that I think are well done. I think Chris Pine's characters, his friends, the Scottish dude, I don't want to say all their ethnicities. He's an Indian dude, I think. And then there's also Indian, Middle Eastern. I couldn't figure out which one it was. And then there's like a Native American character. Those three I actually enjoyed because each one of them, well, except for the Native American, have like their own like problems in the world and their own things. Like the Scottish dude, I think, is like straight up has PTSD, I think, and sometimes can't shoot whenever he needs to shoot. I think that was really well done, bringing that kind of like concept into this movie and bringing it to like to World War One, which surprisingly, World War One was in a movie. Also the Indian fellow or the Middle Eastern fellow. I'm sorry. That's the reason why I'm saying both. If I'm wrong, sorry. He was really cool. He wanted to be an actor, but he couldn't be hired because of his skin color. And I could relate with the actor part of that. And it's really cool seeing this. And yeah, and like I said, World War One. We always see movies really focus on World War II or Vietnam. Those are like the two wars every movie at least focus on. Of course, there's a lot of movies about the Revolutionary War, there's some about the Civil War, but there's rarely, and I mean rarely, any movies ever mentioning about the Great War. And that was my favorite part, was that they didn't call it World War I, because that's not what it was called during that time. It was called the Great War. And I was about to say, if they once said World War I in this movie, I would have flipped my shit because I actually am really interested in history. And it's surprising that I actually really like about history, the world history, US history, all this kind of shit. It's surprising how much I actually like that kind of stuff. So I'm glad, but the whole time I was trying to figure out if it was World War II. But after so long, it finally hit me that it wasn't, because they didn't mention that one fellow with the squarish mustache. It finally hit me about like roughly 3/4 of the movie that, oh yeah, this is probably not World War II, because if it was World War II, there'd be a lot of references to that, like Nazis and shit, because none of the characters were Nazis. And I kept saying, it's like, I bet this movie won't be airing in Germany because of their law against showing Nazi paraphernalia in movies. So I was really, and it finally hit me that it's not Nazis, they're just the German soldiers in the Great War. And I forgot, and it's just like there's trenches and there's gas, and that's pretty much the main weapons back then, was gas during World War I. So it was really good to have a movie that wasn't fucking World War II, because that, I think almost World War II is overdone in stories. And I'm glad finally there's a World War I movie. But it's Wonder Woman. That's not really a big, it's not really a big criticism. Like, it's good to have, it was good to have like something like that, like a character like that. And like obviously, the whole, I kind of believe in this universe, like, you know, it's okay to like deviate the history, but the problem with that also at the same time is Batman vs Superman has Jon Stewart and all these real actual channels and shit, so I don't know if that quote unquote that messes with our lore, you know, what I would say is our universe's lore, but whatever. So I was glad that Wonder Woman had a war setting that, you know, is actually rarely talked about, and it was really fantastic. Other than that, most things were decent. However, I wish this movie was a lot better, because there's so much stuff in it that I wasn't a big fan of. First off, let me just say this. I caught a lot of twists right away. In the beginning of the movie, they kept telling Diana, Wonder Woman, that that Zeus created a god killer to destroy Ares if he ever showed up again. Ares is in this, by the way, the son of Zeus. So, yeah, they gave him this god killer. 5 minutes after they kept explaining that, and Diana looked at the sword and says, "Wow, that's great," I sat there, I was like, the sword's not the god killer, it's Wonder Woman. And yes, 4/5 of the movie, they finally were like, "Oh, surprise, you're the god killer." So I just sat there, I was like, well, that was fucking, like, I was kept sitting there, I was like, please, let that not be the case. Please let that not be the case. But it happened. And my friend Max Russland and I talked about this movie a little bit before I did this video, and he said, well, that was kind of what they did in the comics. That's fair, but at the same time, I don't know, it just didn't feel right storytelling wise, and I kind of hated the fact that I have this whole predictability issue with me now with movies. So they have this, but one twist I never figured out. I would have never figured it out. You're led to believe that this one German dude is Ares in a different body, and the whole time I was just like, it's probably not him. There's a twist, and it's probably this Mrs. Poison, Dr. Poison character, which, to be honest, I thought was a pretty cool character, but not a character that went very far, and I was kind of sad because I thought the idea of this character was really cool. Dr. Poison was literally just this woman who has like this plastic face on, basically, jaw at least, half a jaw, to cover up some scars and shit, and I thought the character was interesting. Problem is they didn't do a lot with her, and that's kind of sad because, like I said, I thought the idea was cool, and I was kind of glad that it was not just like they were gonna make the villain a guy. And I sat there, I was like, oh, thank God, because you could pin, because like, I imagine some people was like pinning this as a feminist thing, because like how the movie Ghostbusters worked was everyone was already pinning that the reason guys were stupid or villains in the movie was because of this feminist propaganda. I didn't fucking believe it because everyone was an asshole in that movie to them, even women. So I sat there, I was like, if you're gonna make that case, at least be more educated about it. Obviously, I need to shut up about Ghostbusters or else I'll get my door knocked down. However, in this movie, so I sat there, I was like, oh, thank God, there's at least not just a guy villain, there's a girl villain. And the whole time I sat there, I was like, okay, I bet that she's Ares, actually. I was wrong. It was actually another guy altogether, and it was one that I honestly didn't expect. There was a British general, captain, or some shit, I forget, general, colonel, whatever, I forget. And he funds this expedition and everything, and then it's finally revealed he's Ares. And I was like, huh, I'm kind of glad. I'm kind of glad that they gave me a twist like that. And it's actually it's a smart thing. In fact, actually, throughout the movie, it's, Wonder Woman's led to believe that Ares is the reason all men are fighting and evil and all this shit because he made them do that. When really, all along, Ares just whispered ideas and talked around people, and they just let man do it themselves. Which works. I thought it was good. I thought it was it was good. I thought it was a great idea. And so yeah, that is where cool things about Ares kind of just end. Because after that, Ares the whole time, the guy who is Ares all along has this weird mustache. I don't know if it's what. No, it's not. It's definitely not a handlebar, but it's like, it's really comically British, if I have to say, and it's really funny to me. But in the flashback when Zeus knocks off Ares off of Olympus, they show him and he has that mustache. So I almost laughed out loud at that because it looks so stupid and funny. And it's just like, why couldn't they just, like, they could have honestly just got rid of the mustache. And I thought it would have been perfectly a fine idea. But because it was this weird mustache, no, I couldn't take it seriously. That the god of fucking war and destruction has this funny as shit mustache. That, it's like if Satan had if Satan had like a fucking it's like a drawn on mustache. It's like really thin. I don't want to say neck beard, but it's like this thin douchebaggy like beard. I would laugh my fucking ass off if I went to hell and saw that. And obviously I'd get tortured for the rest of my life. But anyway, that's kind of where Ares ended being cool, was the whole like twist and everything, because from there on it was really stupid and funny. I mean, there was a fight between Wonder Woman and Ares and it was kind of cool, but you just couldn't think about like the fact that under that mask is a stupid fucking mustache. It's so fucking dumb. Okay, enough about that being dumb. Let's talk about other characters, because I want to save some bigger things towards the end that I didn't like. Let me just say this, every other character, I could not remember a fucking thing about them, or they just were, in my mind, just filler. The women, the Amazonians, I had a hard time figuring out which one was the general and which one was Diana's mother. It was, like, they dressed differently, but at times it was hard for me to keep track of it. And it was really, really weird and out of nowhere and everything, but it's just, nobody there was memorable. In fact, the whole thing about that wasn't memorable to me at all. Although I just said it was beautiful colors, that's about the best compliment I could give that part of the movie, was because I don't know. It just really didn't seem that interesting to me. And you'd think, oh, Larry, a bunch of hot, sexy women, you should really love it, Larry. I should, but they weren't. They gotta have a character, and then just none of them felt like. All of them just seemed like warriors. And cool, women are fighting. Great. I'm glad we've gotten this far in feminism that we made movie character women fight. Oh, great! Obviously, you know, I'm a strong believer in feminist rights and all this equal rights and everything, but just like I'm not saying this movie tried pushing men. They weren't really at all. In fact, if they did, it was as a joke. And I don't mean like that feminist is a joke kind of thing. Oh fuck, I'm digging myself in a hole. Like there's the jokes like the secretary bit with like Chris Pine's character's secretary. That was funny. And it's just like, oh, that's called slavery where I'm from. That was fucking funny. That's what the best thing about this movie is. It was fucking funny. I'm glad that this universe figured out humor for once, because every other one, there might be 2 jokes at max, and everything else is uncomfortable if you smile. This movie had jokes, and fucking the best jokes were from Chris Pine's and Wonder Woman's interactions. Like, there's a whole scene where Wonder Woman looks at his dick, and I was chuckling the whole time because it was funny. The interactions, it really was. And then later on, they're in a boat and they're having interactions, and they're having like Chris Pine's just like, I don't want to sleep with you. And she's like, no, it's okay, you can sleep with me, because you know it's fucking whatever. And then it's really funny movie. But back to what I was saying, the Amazonians I couldn't care less about because they were not interesting. I don't remember them at all. That's the problem. It's just that they're forgettable, and that's really sad, because you think, I don't know, fucking warrior barbarian women that are fucking supposed to be the most beautiful creatures are boring. Why? That's sad. Fuck. I'm losing breath and my mouth is already getting dry. And I don't have a drink this time unless I want to go all the way to my fridge to get a Pepsi. Or a Coca-Cola. But anyway, back to any other characters. I was talking about like how I felt the three the three friends of Chris Pine were pretty good, but I said the Indian fellow, the Native American fellow, wasn't the most interesting character because the only line that I thought he was really like quote unquote powerful for was that the whole, you know, my land was taken from me, so this is the most free I can get. And they're like, who took your land? His people, and he pointed at Chris Pine. That was about the most powerful line he said, and that was it from there. That was the only that was the only purpose he had almost. I mean, there was a smoke signal at one moment he did, but that was it. And part of me is glad that none of those three die in that movie. But at the same time, I felt like more like it would almost be a more emotional movie if one of them died. My idea would probably be the Scottish man because there's so much emotion built in that character. Like I said, he has PTSD apparently. He's not all right in the head, and all this kind of stuff. And there was a lot more emotional scenes with the Scottish man. So I thought out of anybody who would die, it'd be him because he had the most emotion. No, they killed Chris Pine's character. And you know what? I'm fine with it. Rarely do we ever have like something like that. Rogue One did that a lot last year, where just like everybody fucking dies. But I'm kind of glad like that they show that no one is safe in this universe. Not even what would be the second name in this movie cast. And it really, I mean, like, of course it's shown that, you know, this universe is not fucking around. They killed Superman, technically. They killed General Zod, they, you know, all this kind of stuff. I'm kind of glad that they showed that this happened. Although, that's what's the saddest part. He was such a likable character that when he was gone, I was like, no. But at the same time, I felt if he just, at the almost end of the movie, showed up, I would have been really fucking mad. Because I like it better. It was like, it's like in Avengers when they kill Coulson. If Coulson stood up at the very end of that movie, I think I would have been mad about it. Or, no, actually I would have been pretty happy because as a kid I thought that would have been great. But it's kind of like how Joss Whedon felt whenever they kept telling him to do Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because Joss Whedon actually didn't want him to come back to life, and had been always angry at Marvel because of that. And the reason why Coulson wasn't in Avengers 2 was specifically because he felt like his ending, how he killed Coulson, was the way Coulson was going to go. There was no way he's going to come back. Well, Joss Whedon's gone now. In fact, he's directing reshoots of Justice League. Which is interesting. I mean, obviously there's a reason for it. Zack Snyder's daughter, sorry to bring the video down. Zack Snyder's daughter committed suicide, so I would like to say at this time that I feel really bad for the Snyder family at this time. All my thoughts and prayers go out to them. I'm Mr. Snyder, I'm sorry that I don't really like any of your movies you put out so far, but I really feel for you right now, and I understand it's a really tough loss right now. So I will not shit on you during this video about anything. I'm acting like he's gonna watch this. He had nothing to do with this except for the story, apparently. Anyway, back to Wonder Woman. The next, I think after that, like characters, and like there's the secretary I said, she just was kind of a comic relief kind of person, and that's fine for a minute. I don't know, it just didn't feel right. And yeah, so that's about as much as I got from there. There's a bunch of generals, and I was talking about the guy who's actually Ares, and he's okay. any other scene, but at first it was like he was very nice, and I was like, this is good. What's he up to? And, well, figured it out. I always thought he was just being really nice. So then there's the bad guys, quote unquote, and that's this German dude who Dr. Poison makes these like basically cocaine in pills that he snaps and he gets power all of a sudden. And whatever, fine. He doesn't serve a lot, and you know, like I said, Wonder Woman thinks he's Ares and he kills him. Nothing happens. Oops. Because that's Wonder Woman's whole idea about this whole movie, is that once she kills Ares, the war will end. That is her whole thought during this whole movie. I'll get to it in a second. Dr. Poison. I was saying I like her idea, but like I said, I kind of feel bad because she actually doesn't get a lot. I will say this. After Suicide Squad, I watched 2 reviews that were in my watch later. One from Ralph the Movie Maker and one from I Hate Everything. After I watched Suicide Squad, I watched both of them. Believe it or not, I liked both of their opinions because they were eerily similar to mine. Either A, they thought the characters were good, or they thought these characters were bad, and generally had about the same thought process as both of them. So, after I went to go see Wonder Woman, I watched Ralph the Movie Maker's review, Reel It In actually, of Wonder Woman. There are parts that I disagree, but at the same time agree with him on this movie as well. So, what was it? Is that it's kind of weird that Wonder Woman doesn't kill Dr. Poison because she creates this deadly shit. Because in this whole movie, Chris Pine's character stole a book of an ingredient of this poison that will like deteriorate gas masks because it's based in hydrogen, not sulfur. I love the science of this because, like I said, I was such a history buff, and seeing World War I, which is basically, I think, in my opinion, the war of gases, because we had all that shit, we had trench foot, and all this stuff. It was really cool to see that they were trying to put all the science into this, and it's just like, it's kind of like how in Captain America, the first Avenger, where the Hydra was trying to make these weapons for the Nazis, or something like that, based on Tesseract, the Tesseract. So it's kind of like in that way, except for what Dr. Poison did would kind of also be quote-unquote scientifically possible, because obviously we don't have a Tesseract, and we didn't have any fucking energy plasmas in World War II. In World War I, we had poison, and I'm pretty positive there could have been a point where, yeah, we may have well just fucking made something that was gonna go through hydrogen and not sulfur. Was it sulfur? Yeah. So yeah, she created this, and they're trying to like destroy it and tell about it, and yeah. Sorry, I'm skipping a lot of stuff, but it's an interesting point. Why not kill her? She did all this stuff. Literally, Wonder Woman doesn't kill her, and it's kind of odd. You'd think she would at least be like, all right, bonk, and then kills Ares, but no, she doesn't. It's kind of weird. And now that I think about it, yeah, why the fuck didn't she? Anyway, I'm thinking too much about that. My last 2 huge complaints. These 2 complaints are the big reason why I couldn't really love this movie. Honestly, I feel like these 2 things fucked it over. The first thing is the romance. Now, I did say that because there's a romance between Wonder Woman and Chris Pine's character. There is a relationship with these guys, but it's a what you would like the broad term of relationship, not like, you know, oh, we're holding hands down the alleyway and we're gonna, you know, diddle each other. No, they're just like how me and a friend that's called like friendship, I guess, is what I'm looking for. They have this great like, and their chemistry's perfect, and they just like are really good friends. They go back and back together. They're like a game of tennis. They one person says this, the other person says this. It's a perfect game. Well, out of nowhere, halfway through the movie, Chris Pine's character fucking punted the shit out of the tennis ball, and like Wonder Woman lost the ball because out of fucking nowhere. Look, throughout the first half of this movie, there's a lot of, I guess the word is sexual tension between the two, because there's a lot of like, so what's that? And it's just like, yeah, it's my penis. Like it? And then there's like on the scenes like how sex works and how it's quote unquote appropriate or unneeded or something like that. There's a lot of that kind of stuff. There's also like, why are they holding hands and all this kind of shit. That is, and those things were funny. Those were really funny scenes. So obviously, look, I'm gonna be honest. Yes, of course I knew this relationship was gonna come because it was obvious that it was gonna happen. And it's just like no one in Hollywood, in superhero movies, know how to fucking do a heterosexual relationship in the slightest. Like, none of them do. Not even Marvel. Like, I never understood the whole chemistry between Pepper and Tony, Jane Foster and Thor. I just couldn't. I really couldn't, because they didn't seem right anyway. Either way. Jane Foster and Thor just out of nowhere felt like,
I hate science. It's just all magic.
Well, I think you're a hot dude.
I'm gonna come back real.
Yeah, see, that's honestly what I thought Thor felt like. But Wonder Woman, I knew, and I still wasn't prepared for it, because halfway through it, like, they have a dance, and it's a nice dance, and it's actually kind of sweet, and they have some nice words to say to each other, and all this stuff. And then they go up to the hotel room in this movie and just kiss. I actually sighed during the movie. As a kid, of course, I would have probably been like, yeah, gross, and like covered my eyes. But like this movie, I don't know, I just never felt so embarrassed for a kiss, because it felt out of nowhere for me. Because right after that, they don't feel like a couple at all. Like, they immediately, there was like no reference to it. It didn't feel like it was like ever a thing that happened. It felt like that scene was just put in there post-production. If it was, I wouldn't have been fucking surprised, because here's the thing. Like, okay, actually I'll talk about what I would do to this movie later, at the end of this one. But it just fell out of nowhere, because then after that, nothing happens. They have arguments with each other and all this shit, and then before Chris Pine's character dies, he admits he loved her. That was fine. I thought that was a perfect place to put that. So, I thought this whole romance thing in this movie was so fucking rushed. And like, that's the one thing I'll disagree with Ralph the movie maker, was that he said this relationship felt right. It didn't to me. It felt like two friends it felt like two friends out of nowhere. Like, you know, we've been friends for 5 years. Dude, let's kiss. You know, it kind of felt like that. Like, the best example I can give you is in the episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where the whole gang gets broken up and they're going to go out and do their own thing. Charlie and Dee start hanging out, and then just somewhere during that they make out. It felt like that, because they've been friends for so long that it just out of nowhere, them making out just felt weird to watch. And immediately after the gang got back together, they completely forgot that ever happened. that's honestly what I would have preferred this movie to. It's kind of what this movie felt like. It was really weird, and I didn't like that kiss. That's just my bottom line. I felt this this romantic relationships felt weird. The friendship was great and great chemistry, but I didn't feel like the relationship was there. So that would probably but that was just like one little thing. Technically, that's just like a third of what I didn't like, to be honest. And like, that's not like a third of everything altogether in this movie. It's still just a third of what I didn't like. The other small fraction was just the forgettable characters and all that shit. What I fucking hated about this movie was that whenever this was perfect to do, Wonder Woman kills the guy, the German dude, that she thinks is Ares this whole time. She looks around, notices no one stopping any evildoer shit. She notices that the war is still going on. And I was like, what did you fucking expect? Chris Pine's character runs up the stairs and he's like, listen, I'm sorry. Just people are messed up. I'm sorry for this. This is just how things go. The war does not stop because you killed one person. You have to keep going on, and you just need the want to end this. That's how the war ends. I fucking loved that. They fucked it up. They did. Immediately, the Ares reveal comes about. Although I said I liked that it was a different guy, it fucking angered me a little bit because just out of nowhere, it's just like, oh, yep, I did it. I fucking did it. And she's just like, no, I can't have this. Well, you got to. And sure enough, fucking the whole fucking deal. And then she fights. Beats the shit out of Ares. It goes against what Chris Pines was just telling her. This beautiful message you could have told a whole generation about. A whole family. You could tell everyone. It could be used in today's society that killing one person isn't going to stop a fucking war. No! They didn't want to end with that. They wanted to make sure that, yes, when you do kill one fucker, you're gonna end the fucking war! That's what this movie did! This fucking movie, immediately after Wonder Woman kills Ares, it is implied that the fucking soldiers all get up and they're like, yeah! We did it! The war's over! Fuck you, movie! Fuck you! I was so furious at that! That made me, I was so mad! But fuck! Because the message was beautiful to tell. That just, you can't kill one person. You can't. And if they just had a shitty climate, like a shitty ending to that, that would have been fine with this movie. I think this movie would have been perfect. But no! Fuck it! And I talked with my friend, Max Ross Linden, who told me, it's this. He said, like, look, he doesn't think that it was because he killed, that they all were cheerful, that Wonder Woman killing Ares doesn't mean, that they weren't, like, immediately like, yeah, the war's over, I no longer want war. And that's what he was saying. He's just like, look, they just watched two demigods kill each other, like, fight. Do you think you would not be, like, happy that one person, like, the good survived? Yes, I am fine with that. But it's implied. It really feels implied that because Wonder Woman killed Ares, everyone's fine with each other again. Because you know what that brings up? Why the fuck does the rest of the DCEU exist? That was a humongous retcon if that's what happened. Because think about it. Batman wouldn't want to kill Superman. Superman wouldn't want to fuck everything up. Suicide Squad wouldn't fucking exist because no one wanted to commit a crime. It's so... Ugh. It does that. I'm glad that movie just implies that happens, because if it fucking did, it ruins everything. Every fucking thing about the future. I hope my neighbors are not hearing me. I hope I'm not loud enough to where they're like,
We have somebody loud.
but I'm now thinking about how angry this gets me, because when I first watched it, I was just annoyed. But now I'm fucking pissed that it was the ending. So, I was saying with the kiss thing, what I would do to make this movie fantastic. First up, I would remove the kiss scene. I'm being honest. If you just literally took out the 1 minute scene of them kissing, went from the dance straight to the next day, I think it would have been perfect. Because that I Love You at the very end by Chris Pine, I felt was perfect. But the kiss doesn't work. And yeah, I just think that if you got rid of the kiss, beautiful. I know probably if there's a Wonder Woman extended cut, it's either going to be implied that they had the sex, or they're going to just keep making it like more sexualized. And I do not want that in this good wholesome movie, because literally there is a whole scene, and I've already said spoilers at this point. There's a scene where Wonder Woman gets an ice cream and she says, "Oh, I hope you're proud," and she says that to the ice cream man. My heart broke because that was so pure and wholesome. I just loved that because it was so adorable. And it's just like, oh my fucking god. It just, oh man. Okay, other than the kiss, what else would I fix? I think I would make the character, like the characters I just said that were kind of boring and all this shit, more interesting in my opinion. Because, I can imagine because you wouldn't think the German dude's really a threat. He kills a bunch of dudes, yes, but that's about as far as a threat I could have thought him as. Because the rest of them, he really does shit. Maybe if he did something, it'd be interesting. Dr. Poison, I don't know. Actually, probably make her the main villain. I don't know. Could have worked. What's another thing I would fix? I'd fix the Native American character a little bit, because like I said, he didn't do a lot. He just didn't. Who I would kill? The Scottish dude. And it's not because I hate the dude, but it's because I think it would have been perfect for the film. It would have made more sense if this emotionally driven character was the sacrifice. I mean, granted, it's kind of predictable if you did that, but it works. Chris Pine, I don't know if I would have him die. I think what happened worked. It kind of reminded me of Captain America, where Captain America sacrificed himself to make sure none of the Hydra bombs go off. And I love that. I love that scene. So I think I'd just have Chris Pines die. Shit. The Amazons. I don't know how to fix that, to be honest, because it's, as much as I don't think it was that great, I think that was kind of the best way you could do it. I could be wrong. There might be billions and billions of fucking ways to fix that and have it like, an interesting way. But to me, I don't know any way to fix the Amazonians at all. So there's that. And of course, the one big thing I would fix is that the whole fucking thing at the end, the whole message that you can't kill one guy and expect the war to be done. Because that is totally a fucking hypocritical thing you could do in this movie. I would just literally just fucking... I'm not saying get rid of it, because it works. Just keep the message. But I don't know how you would follow that up. That's the issue with this. There's no good way to go with that and make it a very successful ending. Ralph the movie maker said just like, well, he says that and they go defuse a bomb or something like that. That's a boring fucking ending. But it would work a lot better than saying one message and then immediately contradicting yourself in 5 minutes later. And like you just heard me, I'm fucking pissed at how they did that. So I really don't know how you do that really successfully. I guess you just were forced to fucking do that shit. But all things considered, I really liked Wonder Woman. I actually did. I thought it was a good movie. And despite the shit ending, I thought it was a generally good movie. I had a good time watching it. I thought it was, I thought Wonder Woman and Chris Pine were the best characters of the DCEU so far, and I just loved every minute of those two. Even during that weird creepy kiss thing, that's fine, because that was just a minute of my time that I'm never getting back. But the rest of it made sense. The rest of the chemistry was perfect. The setting was beautiful, gorgeous, everything. Great colors. I'm glad there's colors in it, finally. Just everything. And I'm finally glad that the DCEU has a good movie. You can argue with me as long as you want about how you think Man of Steel is a good movie, how Batman vs. Superman's a good movie, and you could try your fucking hardest to explain why Suicide Squad is even a decent movie. But when it all comes down to it, I don't know. I think it all works out in the end that Wonder Woman is the best DCEU movie so far, and I'm so glad it's Wonder Woman. It's funny that it's the fourth movie of the DCEU that's the good one, because in my opinion, Marvel's fourth movie of the cinematic universe is the worst one. I hate Thor, I really do. I sat there and I was thinking that it was Captain America that was the fourth one, but I was wrong. And I was sitting there, like, that's their first good one to me. I mean, I do like the first, I do like Iron Man 2, The Incredible Hulk, but not as much as I like the first Captain America. So I'm kind of glad. Wonder Woman figured out, hey, we can make a good fourth movie. So, yeah, I'm finally glad that the DCEU has a good movie. So, I guess the question remains. Am I gonna go see Justice League? Am I gonna go see it? Well, after Wonder Woman, sure, why not? I'll just say it like this. I'll probably give up after that movie, or if I hear Aquaman get some good reviews. Until then, I don't know what else I'm gonna rant. It's gonna be a very long time. You got something for me to rant about? What's your thoughts on Wonder Woman, actually, before I end this video? What are your thoughts on Wonder Woman? I understand I shit-talked this movie the whole time. Well, not the whole time. I actually enjoyed the movie fine. I'm finally glad there's a Wonder Woman movie that I like. So yeah, if there's anything that you disagree with me, sure, go ahead, tell me about it. I'll try my best to understand it. So yeah, this is I'm glad to finally end the video on a high note. That Wonder Woman is pretty good, and I'm actually excited to go see Justice League and maybe Aquaman.